And dramatic video has been released showing the moment an elderly driver lost control of his car. It happened at lunchtime yesterday in the suburb of Eastwood. The car was filmed crashing into a restaurant, bollards, and a taxi. Here's an update from 9 News.
Miraculously, no one has been injured after a car ploughed into a restaurant, then a taxi and a bin here at Eastwood at lunchtime. Mobile phone vision shows the moment a man driving a Honda CR-V ploughs into the Eastwood seafood restaurant and then later a taxi. Other footage shows firefighters yelling at people to get back, one carrying a woman away in the panic.
Driving through and then crash again 4 times.
4 times?
Yeah.
I was so scared that it might smash into the store or something.
An ambulance was called, but no one was injured except for the driver who suffered minor injuries. It's understood the man driving the car was aged in his 80s, and while Ryde Police are looking into all the circumstances, they are investigating whether the man had suffered a medical episode.
Well, thankfully no one, including the driver who is in his 80s, was seriously injured. He recorded a negative breath test at the scene. Now, in New South Wales, when a driver turns 75, they must have a yearly medical assessment to keep their licence. So it got us thinking, should there be an age limit on the licence? Ben, your thoughts. Should there be that age limit, or should the medical assessments be enough?
I think that the age limit does need to come down. I think we should be continuously testing our drivers. I think being someone who lives in a suburb of Melbourne, where there is a lot of elderly people driving, I do see a lot of really, really scary circumstances unfolding. And it's always, when you go to drive past them, someone who looks like Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's. And I feel really bad because... That's kind of a bit mean of me, but every single time I see something really bad in the suburb of Toorak, I always drive past and I'm like, I'm like, they really shouldn't be driving because it's unsafe. So look, to cut a long story short, yes, we should keep making sure that people are eligible to be behind the wheel.
But Angela, I want to ask you, obviously we all love our independence, and especially as you get older, you start to lose kind of faculties, and you might be a bit forgetful, or you might have to move into an aged care home or an aged care facility. Is it tough for older people to give up that right, but should we force them?
Sure, it would be. Of course, that would be difficult. But, hey, look, I only got my P plates when I was 39. I felt like an elderly driver even then.
You get 39, but you're only 21. Yeah. I don't understand that. I can't work out the maths.
If nobody had said that, I would have. I mean,
he's got the wrong plumbing for you, Robbo. Stop flirting with her.
Can't help it.
No, don't. With this particular incident, though, I think, Robbo, we are seeing more and more instances, like it. And hey, Prince Philip, I'm looking at you.
Yeah,
but,
right.
When we age, our sight, our hearing, our cognitive ability is impacted. And if you can't admit that to yourself, then that's a problem anyway. But yes, of course, you'd feel, upset about losing your license. I'm not sure that you could even make the case for a blanket, okay, you're 75, so hand over your license, because everybody does age differently. Some are more sprightly than others, and some are, already 1 foot in the grave. You can't tell. Plus, anyway, which government would have the balls to enforce that in the first place? So I'm actually all for retesting at a specific age.
What we're going to do now is we're lucky enough to have a very elderly driver join us right now from on location. What's it like, Rob, when you can't drive? I've been in a car with you before. And it's pretty rough. In fact, in some ways, I'd like to be in the car of this 80-year-old as opposed to you. But, Rob, you need to talk. Your thoughts?
I don't just need to talk. I think I would like to say, Robbo, that you've been very lucky to be in a car with me. So thank you, lucky stars, and you've survived. What I would like to see, I will say, is the idea of retesting everybody. I think there are so many idiots on the road that actually can't drive, and being a slow driver is not being a good driver. Let me just make that point clear. I find a lot of slow drivers cause a lot of issues on the road because they actually... What are you laughing at, Ben?
Sorry, I just thought, I was about to say thanks, Karen, because you sound like
No, but it's true. because a lot of other drivers
I'd like
get
to say
frustrated.
that everyone should be
And
tested.
I think we give licenses out too easily. We think that being able to drive is everyone's right. And seriously, I sometimes think it's like cutting out a license off a cereal crisp box, because I see some people who literally can't drive, and what the worst drivers are actually the ones that will do 60 in an 80 zone and then do 100. No, I'm doing 60 in an 80 zone and then 80 in a 60 zone. And it's like, as someone who tries to obey the speed limit because I've had way too many phones, it really does annoy me. I say everybody should be retested every 5 years, and we should also instigate, when you first get your driving license, we should have to do those courses like they do in the US.
Who's going to pay for that, Rob?
Well, the government and you should have to pay to get your license renewed. We do that anyway. As part of our license renewal, we pay for it, Robbo.
So you're happy to see the license kind of increase. License fees, I think, are already exorbitant for the fact that they're just laminating a piece of paper with
Well,
a photo
the
on it.
registration renewals are very expensive simply because of the fact that governments, state governments take a big levy. You know, like you look at New South Wales, the state government levy on those green slips are just astronomical. So it's not actually the license renewal that costs you a lot of money, it's the green slips that come with that. Sorry to use facts.
No, we're not used to that. That's why we're all shocked. I think that's why.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.